Good morning, everybody. Today's the day. We're heading for the family cottage to put the water in because the plumber who's been doing it for 30 years is finally retired. God bless him. He did a great job. Now it's our turn to pick up the mantle. I don't think we've done it before. My wife thinks that we have, but I can't remember. Anyway, it's going to be an adventure, and you're coming with us. Welcome to Vanofaction.com, the van build series, the blacksmith series, and just the general Dave puttering series. And today we're heading north from the shores of Lake Ontario and driving into the Great Canadian Shield towards Ottawa. Just spectacular country up there. We're on a mission, and we hope you find this information useful, and we hope you'll give us a like, a share, a subscribe, and by all means leave a comment. We love to hear from you. We reply to everything. 2.5 hours later, we got there. Well, here we are, springtime at the cottage. Here's the water line. When they winterize the system in the fall, the plumbers left a little 6-inch stub of pipe on the end of the fitting by the valve on the lake side of the pump, just to protect the fitting. That has to be removed. And these fittings have ribs, and they can be really difficult to get off sometimes. First thing I did was remove the clamps, because we're going to need those clamps when we put the pipe back on again. And this was really, really tight. Wow. So what I did was get a torch, and I just warmed the pipe. I didn't get it hot, I didn't get it melted, I just warmed it up to make it a little bit soft. You see I'm holding the nozzle about 6 inches away from the pipe, and this is in real time. This is just how long you heat it. It doesn't take very long at all. And then once you got to break it a bit, just need to move it a bit. There we go. And then you come around to this side. Yes. And what do we have to try and do is judge it so it's roughly about going to come onto this thing. Yes. Okay? Gotcha. That's the idea. I'll get rid of this stuff so we don't lose anything. Putting the pipe in the lake is really a two-person job. It's not heavy, it's just clumsy. You want to make sure you make it a nice straight line and then out into the lake with the foot valve off the bottom of the lake. Hold on a minute. These stairs are pretty rickety. Along this part of the waterfront, the water drops off really quickly. I won't be very far offshore, and I'll be well up to my chest waders in water. Nice, fresh northern lake. Yeah, I'll take a little bit more. Okay. How much more? A yard maybe. As deep as I can go. Okay, just push it out. Okay, there you go. You don't want to go any farther. Okay, coming up. You can see. Oh, perfect. Yeah. Now we just got to put it on there. I've got the top. See, that's right. You want these so they're always facing the right way. So you can see the rickety. There we go. There we go, right there. Beauty. I hope this isn't too windy. We got the water line into the lake. That went really, really well. And now when you winterize a water system, you have to drain it in the fall. And so that means you've got to open up a lot of valves in any place, so all the low points, get all the water out of the system so it doesn't freeze in the wintertime. And in the springtime, we have to now go around and close all those openings before we pressurize it. This valve we'll leave open for now so that when I prime this pipe, which is what I have to do before I can turn the pump on, the air that's in that pipe can escape through that valve. When water starts coming out of that valve, this is what I'm thinking anyway, I haven't done this before, but when water starts coming out of that valve, I know the pipe's full, I can close the valve, and then just be this little bit of air here that has to be removed yet as I continue priming. So now let's look for a place under the cottage at the lowest point to see if we can find how they drain this sucker. There's got to be a way. There's a valve. There's a valve right there. See that guy there, that yellow handled one? Okay. That looks like it. Okay, I'm gonna climb under there. Now this valve is closed. So they must have known what they were doing there. There's a new piece of pipe that's been run to the kitchen. So there may have been an issue there at one time or other. And that must be the hose bit going up there. Okay, now. This is open, so I'm going to close that. And that should... It looks like that's going to be the lowest point, and that's all the water is going to drain to here. Can't tell if that's hot water or cold water. Now, I don't see any other stopcocks or valves anyplace. Those two pipes over there will be for the water heater. One will be just the drain, and one's probably the pressure release one. I'm just going to go over to the bathroom area and see if there's a drain over there. Let's see here. Here's the drains. There's the cold water. That copper will be the cold water, I'm thinking. There's a shower up here, so I don't know where the hot water comes from. Oh, there's the hot water there. Okay. Let's see here. While we're here, we'll check and see where the varmints got in the wintertime. Oh, that looks good. That looks good. So this line runs back and runs downhill. Oh, let's see here. This line runs back and runs downhill to the valve that I opened or that I closed earlier. Okay. I think we're set to go. Okay, now we have to go inside. The water heater. Water heater would have been drained in the fall. So make sure this valve's closed, which is good. There's only a few you gotta look for all the places where there's water. This is the kitchen sink. I'm going to leave the kitchen sink open because as water fills the system, there has to be a place for the air to get out. This is the highest point, so I'll leave that one open. And when water starts coming out of that tab, we can be pretty sure that everything is drained. Now that's closed, that's closed. Toilet may have a shut off. It does. And it's open, so the toilet shut off needs to be closed as well. No, it needs to be open. We want it to fill. Of course, it would have drained out. All right. Toilet's empty. So we should see water coming into the toilet bowl. We should see, for now, the air. These should be open a little bit, but we're going to leave them closed for now so we get at least get water going somewhere. We're not looking all over the place for any water problems. And we're set to go. Now we just need a bucket. Need a bucket. And a trusty funnel. It'll just make life easier and less messy. And I have a funnel right here that all right, super duper. Now at the end of the pipe that's out in the lake, there's something called a foot valve. Hopefully I can get a picture of it and show you. And a foot valve is really a one-way valve. It lets water into the pipe, but it doesn't let water out of the pipe, because if it did, then all the water that was in this pipe when the pump wasn't on would drain back out because of gravity. I didn't check the foot valve, but I just assumed it's working okay. So now what I need to do, I need to fill that black pipe full of water from the foot valve, which is in the lake, all the way up to the pump. And then when the pump's turned on, it'll suck water out of the lake and into the building. The pump can't pump air. It can only pump a solid or a liquid like water. So my next job is to take off this nut and then pour water into the pump until it starts coming out of the valve, and then close that valve and then pour a little more water in to get the water up to here. When the water starts coming out of this hole, that means it should mean the hose is filled, unless I have an airlock. I should be able to put this valve back in, turn on the pump, and it should start sucking water out of the lake and into the cottage. In theory, that's how it works. Hey, there should be something in the top here. Right. Ah, there it is right there, the pressure gauge.
Well, where else can you put the water through?
Well, that's where the water goes, and maybe... I just looked down and saw this. They would know it was there because they do it every year, right?
Yeah.
That goes on there.
Yeah.
Now, can you hand me that funnel, Kathy? I think it's too big an opening for this. It'll take forever to put water through that little guy.
Oh. Oh, really? You put it there?
Okay, now, this is the part you're not going to like, though.
What?
You got to hold this thing on there.
Well, I don't want you to get me wet.
Pardon me?
I don't want you to get me wet.
I know you don't want me to get you wet. I know that.
Well, this is the pump, right?
That's the pump. That's right.
So what's this for?
Pressure tank.
Oh. So there wouldn't be much in the pump then. Like it wouldn't hold much.
I wonder if the pressure tank has a valve.
Do not break or remove seal.
No, that's right. There must be a valve on there somewhere.
Yeah, I don't see one.
Let's see.
There's water there. What's that?
Mm-hmm.
That's water.
Ah, that's water or something. What's this thing here? Oh, there. You can see that. It's closed now. They must have drained it and then closed it again. Okay, let's fill it. Let's add some more water and see what happens. You ready?
No.
Tell me when.
Okay. Isn't it done when it's sticking out of there?
No, because there could be air trapped in there. We should get a steady stream of water coming out. I would think.
It looks like a safety.
There, look at that, Kathy.
Right, there you go. Close that off now.
Yep.
Then you have to put
No,
this
no,
on.
put that back.
Why?
No, well, because there still will be space between the funnel and that valve. Let's see if the hose is filled.
How can you see?
Well, if the hose is filled, then we turn the pump on. It's going to pump water. If the hose isn't, it's not going to pump water. See, right now we're pouring water in. It'll be going this way as well.
Yeah.
If it's filled from there all the way up to here, then it'll start going that way,
Right.
which means we'd have to fill that all by hand, right? Which
Right.
doesn't make sense. So, now how does this open out? Okay. So now, can you go in and turn the pump on?
Well, it won't do anything with it if it's not. Oh, is it just pulling that in?
Well, I want to control it from here, not up in the cottage. I don't want to yell, shut it off, shut it off. Okay, well, we seem to have a power issue. We've checked the fuse, checked the switches inside. GFI doesn't seem to reset. Now turn the fan on. Yeah, see, there's no power to there's no power in the GFI for some reason.
Well,
so what I've done is I've removed the GFI. There's a lot of water in there for some reason. A lot of moisture in there. And I have a test light. So we're going to see whether the you'll see whether there's juice in this wire and whether the issue is that GFI. Okay, see that? Okay, so there's power here. So the problem's in that GFI then. Okay. Well, that's good to know. Okay, you turn it off again, please. We ran the an extension cord from a plug that we've checked, so we know there's power in the end of this cord. So now we'll plug the pump in and see what happens. The pump's pumping.
Denied.
What?
If the water's leaking out the foot valve,
Oh,
then gravity will be drawing it out.
right.
And by now, it's been long enough, I would estimate
It
that there
should
shouldn't
be
be, it
past
should be down
that.
below this point, right?
Right, okay.
So if I open this and there's water here, then probably the foot valve's holding.
Right,
Lots of water.
yeah.
Okay, so then I think that means we just have to keep priming. And we did. We primed and primed and primed and poured so much water down that pipe, I had no idea where it was all going. It doesn't make any sense. Bucket after bucket. You see, it really isn't that complicated. The water comes up from the lake through a pipe, into the pump, through the pump, and into the cottage. You pour the water in above the pump, and then once the pump and the pipe to the lake are filled with water, there should be a vacuum, and turning on the pump should just make it come through. Where can all that water be going? Okay, so there's unbeknownst to me, there's a little stopcock right down here at the bottom of the pump, which for draining the pump, I guess. So we've been filling this hole, and it's been running out that hole. Yeah, that will do it. Hold on, let's close it up and see what happens. There you go, now we're cooking.
That's what it should have been like hours ago.
Hours ago. Well, it's going now. It needs a little more water. Okay, let's plug it in and see what happens.
Do you want the pump on?
Oh yeah, no, the pump doesn't matter because there's no power in the GFI.
Well, how are you gonna know?
Sounds better. And then the pump started pumping. God, I felt like an idiot. I should have known the pump had a drain, of course. You know, you can't leave water in there all winter. It would freeze. Anyway, we got that done. The pump started pumping, but you have to be patient because there's a lot of air in that system. The hot water tank, 40 gallons, the pressure tank, and all the pipes. It took about 10 minutes for the water to go through the system and fill it up to where it was starting to come out the taps. So just be patient with that. Once you've got it set up right, it should work. The only last surprise I had was because I hadn't done the system before, I didn't realize that the plumbers at the end of the year had opened the pressure relief valve on the hot water tank. Now that makes perfect sense when you think about it because it would really help the tank to drain, and you want that tank drained in the fall. But I didn't know I had to close it until the pressure wouldn't build. It finally figured it out, closed it off, and then the pump brought the water up to pressure and it shut off. That's what you want to see. So then we tested it a couple times by flushing the toilet and running some water to the point where the pressure system was calling for water. The pump kicked back in, brought it back up, shut it off. We ran it through a couple of paces. System seems to be working fine. We're ready for the summer. Thanks for watching this far. I hope you give us a like, a share, and a subscribe. You'll stop back again. We're just trying to share useful information. Be well.